I'm looking at question 8 here, but I left up question 7 because I think that the two questions are kind of interrelated. Maybe not as closely related. In question 7, I chose D for the answer, suggesting that Sandeep comes to view the adults as immature over the course of the passage. And question 8 asks, Sandeep would be most critical of which action from the passage. And so we know from the previous question that the thing that he's critical about is the immaturity of the adults. And specifically, the things that Sandeep finds ridiculous are the overblown gift-giving scene and the foot-touching scene. So now that we have both of those ideas in mind, so my prediction is that we're looking for something that has to do with either of those two actions, is the foot-touching sequence or the gift-giving sequence. Because that was the suggestion that we got from the answer to the previous question. So, choice A, the two boys playing carom. This is a minor detail from when the story begins. I'm going to cross it out. Mamima's inquiry about the gender of the child. I'm not sure. I'll go check that out in a second. I'll dive into the passage. The old lady's reaction to the gift. Now, the old lady's reaction to the gift is part of the yogurt and candy gift giving, and Sandeep thought that was pretty silly and immature. I have a good feeling about C. The son and the daughter-in-law waiting in the anteroom. I want to find this and see if it has anything to do with feet touching, and if it doesn't, I feel pretty confident that we can knock it out. But first, let me run down choice B to see if there's anything that Sandeep was critical about when it came to Mamima's inquiry about the gender of the child. And here we are on line 10, and she sort of straightforwardly asks, "Is it a girl or a boy?" said Mamima, rolling down the window. "A girl," said the boy. Mamima rolled up the window before the mosquitoes came in. I don't detect any opinions or judgment or criticism from Sandeep here. This also has nothing to do with the gift exchange or the feet touching. So here at line 30, we have the old lady's reaction to the gift. "This is too much," she said, as though she'd just gotten a diamond. That's a really strong contender. I think that's probably our answer. But I also wanted to find, here we are at line 41, the son and the daughter-in-law emerged shyly from the anteroom. And then the feet touching happens immediately after. But I don't think that's what the question... Yeah, that's not what the question's asking. The question's not asking about what happens after they come out of the anteroom. They're talking about the waiting specifically. And there's nothing that Sandeep says that is critical about how they're waiting in the anteroom. It's what happens after they come out. That's a tricky one. The inquiry around the gender of the child didn't have anything to do with the gift-giving or the foot-touching. And in fact, it was only the old lady's reaction to the gift that reflects something that we already know Sandeep is critical of. Remember, at line 55, the narrator says, Sandeep had come to the conclusion that the grown-ups were mad, each after his or her own fashion. Simple situations were turned into complex, dramatic ones. Not until then did everyone feel important and happy. And the only things in the story where adults are needlessly complicating interactions are the gift-giving, which is choice C, and the foot-touching, which happens after the events described in choice D. What I think is useful about this pair of questions is that answering question 7 helped refine my understanding of the passage, and not only that, it gave me a tool with which to answer question 8. Sometimes the way in which you answer one question can grant you an insight towards answering another one, or even going back and changing your answer if some new information is brought to light by the way you answered a different question.